Shalom, and you're now locked in here at M.L.K Talk TV, where you get nothing but the raw and the real whenever I'm in front of the camera. So make sure y'all show the page some love, like, subscribe, and share. Shalom, 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 family, and welcome back to another episode here at M.L.K Talk TV. So we're getting ready to go right in. Y'all see the title, y'all see the thumbnail. M.L.K, the failed Messiah. Okay. And family, bear with me a little bit. We're gonna let YouTube send the calls out, but I'm getting ready to go right in. A little bit under the weather, so I ain't gonna go as hard as I was going that I intended to go. But I had to jump on here and touch on this subject, regardless of how I was feeling and stuff. So we're gonna allow them a few minutes to allow everybody to get in. But you see the title, okay? M.L.K, the failed Messiah. Now today I'm going to be showing you guys why they killed M.L.K. There's a lot of things surrounding the death of Martin Luther King, and I think the bigger portion is out the bag of what actually happened to him, but the small details of who, it's a lot of speculation. You know what I'm saying? So I want to take a few minutes out to kind of explain to you guys what happened to Martin Luther King and how the civil rights movement basically saved Europeans here in America. Okay, so I want you guys to tap in, share this video, because I'm finna get down through here. Okay, so without further ado, let's just go and get into it. They can bag it up as they coming in and kind of catch up with what's going on. But anyway, we add this to the screen right here. Now the reason why I have called or labeled this the Martin Luther King, the failed Messiah, is because whenever it comes to Israelites here in this nation, those that are identified as African American, Negro, or whatever names that they coming up with, they always put Martin Luther King face on the ticket as if he's some black messiah or savior of the black community or the black race, the people that's here in this nation, whose ancestors came in this nation through slavery. Okay, and it's a few reasons why they do that. Okay. As we look here, right, at what Martin Luther King got accomplished, okay, in 1964, he won a Nobel Peace Prize after the Congress passed the Civil Rights Act, right? And so basically what this act basically entail is that it says the law made it illegal to treat people different because of color of their skin when they were trying to buy a house, rent an apartment, go to a restaurant, and etc. Okay, so the question we got to ask ourselves is, what really did Martin Luther King get accomplished? You know what I'm saying? For the people. We don't have any Malcolm X Day. We don't have any Harriet Tubman Day. Anything that's empowering the slaves, the people here who ancestors came in this nation through captivity. They don't want these particular people you know what I'm saying? They don't want people to what is that? Right. So they don't ever want to show you the people that's empowering blacks here in this nation. So when we look at Martin Luther King, he didn't get nothing done for the people. Okay. Even during his days on the earth, even though he was popular and famous, he was not really popular among blacks here in this nation. Like, a lot of the black people in the South and in different places around this earth was not supporting him or his movement. Okay. So the government, J. Edgar Hoover, who we got here on the screen, he called Martin Luther King a terrorist. So it's funny how when these people walk in the earth, they're terrorists. They all of this other stuff, but as soon as they die, they immortalize them. They turn them into something that they really not. You know what I mean? And this is the whole thing that I have with Martin Luther King. He's just a regular. He's no different than anybody else that you see out here doing whatever he was doing. Now, a lot of the older people will try to, and don't get me wrong, I have love for Martin Luther King as a brother being in the struggle, but what he represented, he put our people back into captivity. And I'm getting ready to show you how they utilized him in order to do this. Okay. But all of this stuff about turning the other cheek and doing all this other stuff, you had people like M.L.K that was speaking out about this stuff back during that time period, you know. And the thing that people have to understand is that it don't matter how much people like it or not, whenever you're dealing with situations like this, there has to be some type of campaign that's going on. Nobody is just going to turn the other cheek and just give you, all of this stuff that Martin Luther King represented, or they wanted him to represent. You know what I'm saying? I would have been more, if I lived back during this time period, I would have been on the side of Malcolm X. You know what I'm saying? Because his message is what I believe Martin Luther King started to understand. He started to understand toward the end of his life. Okay, I'm going to show you guys how they wrapped him up. Okay, but I just wanted to kind of touch on a little bit of this stuff surrounding what's going on with him. Now we know that the government is involved with the murder of Martin Luther King, and we know this for a few reasons. First off, that guy James Earl, we know that he did not shoot and kill Martin Luther King. He was the guy that took the fall. Okay, you had his lawyer, and this is how they use Jedi mind tricks to confuse the people. They use social media. So basically, what they did is that they basically said, "Oh, well, he came out and made a confession." But in all reality, it was the lawyer behind the scenes that was working the deal with the prosecutor for him to take the guilty plea. Okay, this dude never went to trial, none of this stuff, but was found guilty and sentenced to 99 years in prison. Okay, now my thoughts on this guy, James Earl. Okay, my thoughts on him is that he was tied up with a lot of criminal activity in the street. He's just nothing more than a scapegoat that got wrapped up, and they already know that the gun that they got in that museum is that bullet did not come from that particular gun that they're showing. Okay, now that's allegedly, that's what they're saying. Oh yeah, we're getting ready to get into that. James King, what you posted here about they killing him in the at the hospital. Okay. Oh yeah, we finna get right into it. So on that note, let's get into this. Okay. Now, right here, we're dealing with Martin Luther King assassination. U.S. government guilty of conspiracy. Now, this is an article that was put out by I Love Ancestry, and it goes on to say, okay, conspiracy fact, not conspiracy theory. So they're stamping, okay, that this is not allegedly, or I think this is exactly what happened. Okay. Now listen to this. In December 1999, the half white, half black jury in a month-long civil trial in Memphis, Tennessee, after hearing almost 70 substantive witnesses, took merely an hour to conclude that Dr. King was executed as the result of a conspiracy that was instigated by then FBI Director J. Edgar Hoover. Okay. Think about this now. You got the federal government, the people that supposed to be protecting the land, protecting the people, okay, involved and wrapped up in this. Listen to what it says right here. It says the conspiring government agencies included the Memphis police, the mafia, and elements of the FBI, CIA, and the US military. Now, think about that. These are the same. Now, think about this. You had Memphis police, the mafia, elements of the FBI, CIA, and U.S. military that was involved in this. These are the same people that's around the world that's supposed to be our top tier government that's supposed to be, dealing with all the big dogs and all this and that, and they dispatch these particular individuals to help take out Martin Luther King. Man, this is crazy. Okay. Now listen to this. We now know that James Earl Ray wrongfully took the blame for Martin Luther King's assassination. It was instead a member of the Memphis Police Department that fired that fatal shot. See, listen to this. Martin Luther King Jr. murdered by police. Two military sniper teams were sent to Memphis as backups in the event the primary shooter failed. Look how critical this hit was. Okay. So basically, and then the other thing that I want to point out is that Martin Luther King was in the snake pit. You know what I'm saying? You got all these people around you. You know what I'm saying? He had, unknown to him, he had government people that was his security. You know what I'm saying? That was his security. You know what I'm saying? Supposed to be watching out for him. Then you had, man, listen, family. You had all these people surrounded around him that was no good, straight turncoats. You know what I'm saying? Now listen to this, because this is what and I believe that to those that had the question, let's get to it. It's what they was talking about right here. Now listen to this right here. Listen to this. It says, in the most stunning revelation in the plot to kill King, which some may question because the account is secondhand, is that Martin Luther King Jr. was shot at 6:01 p.m. and still alive when he arrived at St. Joseph Hospital. He was actually killed by the chief of surgeon, Dr. Breen Bland, who everyone would think that as a doctor would have tried to save his life, even though, hold on, where you going? Even though King was badly wounded. Civil rights leader was pronounced dead at 7:05. So think about that. He got hit, boom, went down. 6:01, he was shot. They got him to the hospital by 7:05. He was pronounced dead. Okay. Now listen to this. It says the truth about the St. Joseph Hospital story. The hospital was told, listen to this. Oh my goodness. The hospital was told to Dr. William Pepper by a man named Johnson Shelby. If I'm saying his name incorrect, I apologize. Whose mother, Lula Mae Shelby, had been a surgical aide at St. Joseph Hospital that night. Shelby told Prepper the story of how his mother came home the morning after the shooting. She hadn't been allowed to go home the night before and gathered the family together. He remembered his mother's telling him, I can't believe they took his life. She described Chief of Surgery, Dr. Breen Bland, entering the emergency room with two men in suits. Seeing doctors working on King, Dr. Bland commanded, listen to this, stop working on the nigger and let him die. Now, all of you get out of here right now. Everybody get out. Okay? Now, listen to this. Johnson Shelby says his mother described hearing the sound of three men sucking up saliva into their mouths and then spitting. Lula Mae described to her family that she looked over her shoulder as she was leaving the room and saw that the breathing tube had been removed from Martin Luther King, and Dr. Bland was holding a pillow over his head. Okay. Now they got here. Note the book, The Plot to Kill King, contains the entire deposition. So at any rate, they killed that man up in there, man, in that hospital. You know what I'm saying? Now, let me say this. It may sound harsh, okay? People may not understand this, but this right here, what happened to Martin Luther King, was a result of the movement that he was pushing. He was pushing integration and then had to go in after he got hit to the hospital to the same people that he was trying to integrate with. And guess what happened? They put the pillow, take the tube out of his mouth, put the pillow over his face. Is what they're saying allegedly happened in that hospital room. Okay. Take the tube out. Y'all get up out of here. Let him get up out of here. Okay. So this is a result of that integration movement. See, what people got to understand is that just because you're segregated does not mean that you can't deal with people and do things the proper way. I mean, if you think about it today, segregation still exists. You know what I'm saying? Now you might have a few stragglers here in between, but you already know the ghettos. That's the ghettos. You know what I'm saying? This is where the blacks is at. You know what I'm saying? When you go into these nice neighborhoods, you know that 9 times out of 10, this is where these Europeans are at. And then there's a sprinkle of the house slaves that they keep close to them. Okay. And I'm going to explain to you why they keep these particular people close to them. But at any rate, the thing that I'm trying to show you here is that here was Martin Luther King set up by all of these people. All of these people had their hand in the cookie jar on this case. This is why they're keeping the Martin Luther King, they're keeping the FBI file sealed, because they know that their hands are not clean. You see what I'm saying? They know this, okay? But now think about this, okay? Because we know, Martin Luther King did his thing or whatever, you know what I'm saying? They said Martin Luther King, because I done listened to a lot of commentary on this, but they said Martin Luther King the night before, he had about a couple women or whatever. They said that he liked the women, you know what I'm saying? He had women all over, you know what I'm saying, that he was dibbling and dabbling into, you know what I mean? So I just look at Martin Luther King as just another brother in the struggle, but they have immortalized him like he's the black messiah for the, you know what I'm saying? And that's not the case. Now let's get to why they killed Martin Luther King. Okay. They killed Martin Luther King over money. Okay. Martin Luther King started to as they say, get too big for his britches. Now they don't care, they didn't care nothing about the civil rights movement and all this other stuff. You know why? Because they weren't gonna never honor that stuff anyway. You see what I'm saying? That's just a way to keep the Israelites, who they called Negroes and African Americans, under the handler. See, what happened is, this is what I want you guys to understand, and let's just go and get to it. Excuse me, and bear with me. I'm under the weather a little bit, but we're gonna get this in, right? Uh okay, hold on. Let's do this real quick. Let's do this real quick. Let's do this real quick. Now, right here, what we're looking at, right? And I'm going to AFSCME, this website, to get this. But this is Martin Luther King's last speech before he got killed, right? Now, let's get on down up in here. And I'm getting ready to show you exactly why they sent Martin Luther King up. Okay, because they already said that Martin Luther King was dangerous, and I'm getting ready to show you what they're talking about when they said that he was dangerous. Okay, let me see. Where is that at? Give me 1 second. Let me pull this. Right here. Right here. let's let's get to it, man. Man, y'all make sure y'all running them likes up, man, and share this, man, because I'm finna hit the nail right on the head every single time. We not gonna play. Okay. Now listen to what he said here in his last speech. He says, now the other thing we have to do is this: always anchor our external direct action with the power of economic withdrawal. Now, we are poor people individually. We are poor when you compare us with white society in America. We are poor. Never stop and forget that collectively, listen to this. Never stop and forget that collectively, that means all of us together, collectively, we are rich than all the nations in the world, with the exception of 9. Woo-hoo. What Martin Luther King talking about? What is he talking about here? Did you hear what he just said? Never stop and forget that collectively, that means all of us together, collectively, we are richer than all the nations in the world, with the exception of 9. Did you ever think about that? Excuse me. After you leave the United States, Soviet Russia, Great Britain, West Germany, France, and I could name the others, the Negro collectively is richer than most nations of the world. Quit playing games. Now, listen to this. We have an annual income of more than $30 billion a year, which is more than all the exports of the United States and more than the national budget of Canada. Did you know that? That's power right there if we know how to pool it. This is why they got Martin Luther King out the way. See, now today we spending over $1 trillion. Just in 1968, okay, it was over 30 billion. Okay. Now listen to this. This is what they don't like right here. The Europeans, they will play the game, they will tap dance and play with all of this, civil right and black, and they, because these are mechanisms that they use to keep the nation divided. So they don't care nothing about, this rate. What they care about is the money. And Martin Luther King found this out before they got him out the way. You know, See, the thing that's crazy about this whole thing is that Martin Luther King and Malcolm X, from what I saw, never got to sit down and really talk. You know what I'm saying? Now, I seen where they like bumped into each other at this press conference, but you never saw them. So it's like, why do not our black leaders take the time to sit down with the people? It seemed like he started to understand this after, and then of course, by the time he died, Malcolm X had already got hit. But listen to what he say right here, because this is critical. We don't have to argue with anybody. We don't have to curse and go around acting bad with our words. We don't need any bricks, any bottles. We don't need any Molotov cocktails. We just need to go around to these stores and to these massive industries in our country and say, God sent us by here to say to you that you're not treating his children right. And we've come by here to ask you to make the first item on your agenda fair treatment, where God's children are concerned. Now, if you are not prepared to do that, we don't have any agenda that we must hold on. We do have an agenda that we must follow. And our agenda calls for withdrawing economic support from you. Listen what he says here. And so, as a result of this, we're asking you tonight. Listen, not tomorrow, we're asking you tonight to go out and tell your neighbors not to buy Coca-Cola in Memphis, Go buy, tell them not to buy sealed test milk. Tell them not to buy. What is the other bread? Wonder Bread. And what is the other bread company, Jesse? Tell them not to buy Heart's Bread. As Jesse Jackson has said up to now, only the garbage men have been feeling pain. Now we must kind of redistribute the pain. We listen, we are choosing these companies because they haven't been fair in their hiring process policies. And we are choosing them because they can begin the process of saying they are going to support the needs and the rights of these men who are on strike. And then they can move on downtown and tell Mayor Leo to do what is right. Now, this right here, family, okay, now, this paragraph right here, okay, and I'm getting ready to break it down. But not only that, we've got to strengthen Black institutions. I call up on you to take your money out the banks downtown and deposit your money in Tri-State Bank. We want a bank-in movement in Memphis. So go by the Savings and Loan Association. Okay, I'm not asking you something we don't do ourselves at SCLC. Judge Hooks and others will tell you that we have an account here in the Savings and Loan Association from the Southern Christian Leadership Conference. We're just telling you to follow what we're doing. Put your money there. You have 6 or 7 Black insurance companies in Memphis. Take out your insurance there. We want to have an insurance in. So family, this is why they got Martin Luther King out the way, because he told them, y'all go take y'all money out their banks and go put them in Black banks, and they didn't want that. See the thing that you guys got to understand is that what he is just stated right here, this was a whole nother movement that he had started, because you had the civil rights movement, okay, and then all of that passed in like what was that in '64. But then he started the Poor People's Campaign, which was a movement for economic power, and they was not having that by no means necessary. And this is what you got to understand. When you start to play with that money, they're getting you out of here, okay? See, all of that stuff about they don't care, because financially you're not. See, that was the whole thing with the Civil War in 1960 in 1865. The Civil War was a war between the Europeans in the North and the South over the new slavery plan. The Europeans in the North, they sold slaves that they didn't want to the slaves in the South, the slave owners in the South. And so what the slave owners up north understood was that we don't have to have these people on plantations and things like that. All we have to do is control the manufacturing, and then we're going to control them. Okay. So what happened is that in 1865, right, after the civil rights movement, okay, what you guys got to understand is that Blacks was getting money here in the United States. Okay, there was no need to integrate. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't no need. You heard what Martin Luther King just said. But they use integration in order to bring you in, to make you feel like, oh, well, we're co-equal, when they know beyond a shadow of a doubt, you're not never equal in their eyes, and they're not going to never look at you as they equal. You know what I'm saying? And so, oh yeah, and we're getting ready to get to Black Wall Street. Just hold on, because I'm going to show you guys what happened, the timeline. So what the Europeans started to understand after the Civil War, like, man, these Blacks is getting money. Okay, you had a bunch of towns. Okay, and let's just go to this article real quick. Okay, so you guys can understand this. See, it's the money that they're after. They don't care about all this other stuff. It's the money. You see, it's the money. So we're going to jump over here to Teen Vogue. Okay, now listen to this right here, right? Okay, this is an article that was put out in 2020, right? It says, listen to this. It says the first Black town in the United States, Fort Moose, Florida, was founded in 1738. Florida's governor, a Spanish settler, established the site after enslaved members of the Black militia fighting for the Spanish petition for and were granted their right to freedom. Initially, the town was made up of nearly 40 free black men and women. This included those serving under the Spanish military leadership and people who fled to Florida to escape slavery in Georgia and the Carolinas. After the Civil War, black towns were created all over the country. See, this is what you guys got to understand. When slavery ended, because what you guys got to always keep in mind is that the Israelites that was in the captivity, that were they slaves, were the ones that was doing all the work anyway. So they weren't just going to come out and say, okay, we're going to do all the work. And they still need somebody to do the work. So the slaves were still coming to do the work. So not only were they doing the work, but they was getting the bags too. Listen to this. It says black towns were created all over the country. These black um, y'all bear with me today. Listen, built by former slaves were called Freeman's Town or Freeman colonies. Between the late 18th and early 20th century, more than 1,200 of these black settlements, enclaves, and towns were established, according to the historical Black Towns and Settlements Alliance. Okay. Now listen to this right here. It says, listen, in the centuries-long fight for the ability to live life of dignity, black people have been striving in their own independence, which these communities offered, and this fact wasn't lost on racist white groups. As a result, several of these black communities were destroyed by white mobs. Listen to this. The Greenwood neighborhood, right? You guys hear about Black Wall Street. Now, something that I want you guys to keep in mind, and this is something that I want you to pass through all of these so-called black, all of these black podcasters or channels that's pro-black and all this other stuff. We have people that brothers, I think it's a lady and I believe it's a man that were survivors of this Black Wall Street. Okay, the massacre that happened out here, and they still have not paid these people reparations, and they go before this board and they keep shooting them down. You know what I'm saying? So where is the equality in that? And we need to get behind them, hopefully before the sister died, and I believe it's a brother that's still alive, before they die, hopefully they can get reparations for what they did to these people out here in Oklahoma. Listen to this. The Greenwood neighborhood, commonly referred to as Tulsa, Oklahoma, Black Wall Street, was a home to black lawyers. Listen, black lawyers, doctors, dentists, and various black-owned establishments such as banks, restaurants, and hotels. Okay, that came to an end in 1921. Now think about this. 1921 is when this massacre happened. So this is telling you that when the slavery ended in 1865, one thing about black folks, we know how to hustle, man. We gonna man, listen, man, we gonna get some money. We gonna get it done. You know what I'm saying? So listen to this. It said that came to an end in 1921. So back during 1921, once blacks and whites separated, we had, black doctors, black lawyers, dentists, and various black-owned establishments. We had banks, restaurants, all of this stuff. You know what I'm saying? So listen, this is what I want you guys to understand, because we just gotta take it there. This is how cold the Israelite is. You know what I'm saying? Or the blacks or African, however they want to classify. We lights, okay? This is how cold the light is, right? Now, y'all took the country, put us in slavery. You know what I'm saying? Now, you said slavery is over with. Oh, y'all get on up out of here, get up off our plantations. Y'all go do y'all, right? So what we do, we get to it. So we say, okay, y'all acting funny, y'all on that. All right, we ain't tripping. We gonna do us. That's still not enough. See, this is why Tanakh teaches us the Most High is telling his people, come out and be you separate from them. He's not saying integrate. Come out and be you separate. And when you separate, you're going to see the power of the Most High at work. You know what I'm saying? They sitting up here playing these games. Listen to this, man. Listen to this, family. It says that came to an end in 1921 when a white mob spent 24 hours looting, burning homes and businesses in what's now referred to as the Tulsa Race Massacre. So now think about this now. We already on y'all plantations working for y'all, making y'all millions and billions of dollars, right? Y'all say get up out of here. We're like, all right, we get to it. We got our own community. We doing our own thing. Y'all turn around and backdoor the slaves. You know what I'm saying? Because we having more than what they think we should have. So not only did they come out here and mob, but they saying that allegedly the U.S. government was involved in it too. See, so you guys got to understand that the FBI is the biggest gang here in America. These people do whatever they want to do, how they want to do it, and they don't care what nobody's talking about. You know what I'm saying? They just gonna have all of this mystic and all of this, all of this sorcery and stuff that they use when they know that they're involved in this stuff. But at any rate, this is why Europeans run around and they're so scared of blacks, because this is what they do. This is what they've been doing over the years, you know what I'm saying, to our people. Little bitty old slave on the plantation said, you know what, we just gonna go out here and get our own stuff. Okay. We at the bottom of the bottom. Okay, we all at the bottom of the bottom and came right back up, and then they didn't like it. You know what I'm saying? And when y'all go look at the reports, they tell you that town, that Greenwood community was thriving. Man, they said, man, listen, and we gotta keep it a buck here. You know what I'm saying? And they said that the Europeans down there was mad. They didn't like that. They were mad. Now listen to this. It left 35 city blocks in ruin, 10,000 people homeless, and as many as 300 people dead. A few years later, there was another massacre another massacre of a thriving black community in Rosewood, Florida. In 1923, the community, which had a great number of black-owned businesses and higher black home ownership rates than the national average, was burned down by a group of white people. The violence, which lasted for almost a week, wiped out the Rosewood community away and left 6 black people and 2 white people dead. Okay, so now listen to this. Hold on. Let me throw this in here too for y'all up there in New York. It says there was also New York City, Seneca Village, the largest community of free African American property owners pre-Civil War. This is before the Civil War happened. Our people have it. You know what I'm saying? Although they weren't subjected to violence, they were forced to leave so that their land could be developed into what would become Central Park. So you took the area where people were living at, tore that down to build up a park. Man, what family? What's going on here? Talk to me. What is going on here? You're telling me that you're going to tear down and make people get off the land where they're living at to build a park? To build a park? Man, quit playing, man. Quit playing. Okay? Now listen to this. And this is why I'm going to show you now. This next article right here, okay, is getting ready to show you. Now, let me say this before I move on, okay? Let me say this before we move on. So my whole point that I'm making here is that black people here in this nation was thriving during the days and times of segregation. So what was the purpose? What was the purpose of integration if black people was doing good? You know what I'm saying? There's no need to come into a system and try to and have to integrate to be equal with somebody when you, man, let me get to this article, man. Because this stuff right here, man, the more that I go in depth and I look at this stuff, man, you get to see how fake this stuff is. Now listen to this. Do you guys remember there's a video that's attached to this? And this article came out in 1954, right? This is in 1954, right? 1954. Right? Now listen to this. So now in 1954, there was an article that came out through Times which said how to tap 15 billion in sales. Okay. Now this number in 1954, so Martin Luther King was when did he was speaking in 19 so in by 1968, by the time of his death, that number of 15 billion in sales that comes from the black community had doubled to 30. Okay. So this is in 1954. Okay, so you guys know about you saw this movie titled "The Secret of Selling the Negro," but let's look at this real quick, right? It says the movie was made by Chicago's Johnson Publishing Company, which puts out the Negro magazine Ebony, Jet, Tan, Copper, and Hue. Now, you know the thing that's interesting is that as I was doing the research and I was looking at this, whenever it comes down to black businesses here in the United States, you have to understand there's always a Wizard of Oz somewhere on the scene, hiding behind the curtain, pushing buttons and doing this and that. You know what I'm saying? Because they don't want blacks having their own businesses or anything that's outside of the system that they can't track. This is why they took away the gold. They can't track the gold. You know what I'm saying? So they already knew. Now, mind you, this is in 1950. This is right after the Great Depression. The stock market crash happened in what, 1929 to around, what was that, 1929 up until what? To like World War II, 1939, somewhere around there, 1938, or whatever the case may be. So you're talking about almost 10, 15 years later, blacks were still stepping and moving. You know what I'm saying? So what it's showing you is that the gold they could not track. So it's like we got to get all that gold off the market and we have to put them in the system that we can track, which is the paper money system. And with that, they can fudge, inflate, blow stuff up, make it seem like it is what it is when really it's not. You know what I mean? So you gotta follow the money. Okay. So back during this time period, Israelites were getting money and they did not want these people running around with these bank rolls. And they know that gold, you can't track it. You know, you can't track it, because you know what I'm saying? It's actual physical money. These dollar bills that we have today is not real money. You know what I'm saying? It's just an instrument, that's used, but it's a sign of a debt. But anyway, these companies own these black magazines, the Ebony, the Jet, and all of this stuff. So once I start to realize that, I bagged up off all of that stuff, But listen what it says right here. It says it will be shown to businessmen around the U.S. to drive home the point that the Negro market is huge and profitable. In support of this, Secretary Weeks quoted Census Bureau figures show that the Negroes' total income has quadrupled since 1940. You talking about after the Great Depression? It's quadrupled. So what? So now, family. Now let me finish this because I listen. We got to go there. Okay. It says their median income has shot up even faster. Excuse me, for non-whites, 90%, listen, 96% of whom are Negroes. The median annual income has risen almost 4 times from 489 in 1939, okay, World War II, to 1943, 1,943 in 1951. While the income of whites has increased less than 3 times from 1,325 in 1939 to 3,673 in 1951. Overall, the Negro market is estimated at 15 billion a year. So this is why we got to slow down and we have to process this information, because if they're telling us that in 1950, and we knew about, we looked at Black Wall Street, that was in the 1920s and stuff like that. You have to understand that our people been playing with the bag. We've been getting to it. So all this stuff about the civil rights movement and we need this and this and that, black people we was already getting money. So if we get money and this is a statement from the government, what else do we need? It's just like right now. We're spending over $1 trillion a year. We don't need no reparations. What we need is for these Negroes to stop competing, okay, get on the right track and lock in and say, okay, listen, you know what I'm saying? We're going to do business with blacks. And this is how we're going to do it. Now, it's not saying that, we're going to feel a certain particular way about another race or whatever, but we got to make sure that our race is maintained just like everybody else is worried about their race. You see what I'm saying? You have to do that. So all of this money that's being spent needs to be redirected. And this is why I'm saying, y'all lock in. We getting ready to put the blueprint together. Okay. Because it's too much money that's running around through here and people are playing. So family, let's get back to this. So this is coming from the government, right? So if the government is telling you that, that means that they're watching the money and they know that Israelites is touching paper here in this nation. Listen what they said. This is in 1950. So what was the whole purpose of integrating with this Martin Luther King movement if they already knew that blacks was having already? Listen to this. Such figures are making businessmen everywhere sit up and take notice. Oh my goodness. It says they are paying more and more attention to the long ignored Negro customer, notably in the South, where 2/3 of the 15 million U.S. Negroes live. Now listen to this. Listen to this, family. Listen to this. It says the Birmingham News recently made a survey showing that the city's 130,000 Negroes, 40% of the total population, have an average family income of $1,849 a year and are regular buyers of everything from baby food to electric refrigerators. To help tap this market, some Southerners have begun employing Negro salesmen, e.g., a Negro hired by a Packer. Listen to this, family. Listen to this. It says a Negro hired by a Packard dealer in Charleston, South Carolina, sold 2 new and 3 used cars in his first 15 days. The month before, the entire stuff had sold Negroes only 4 used cars. What? Quit playing. What? Listen. We tapping into the receipts. Why do blacks got to integrate with white folk and we good? Listen what they say. And once again, because this goes back to the curses put on the Israelites. Okay. See, this is what you guys have to understand. Okay. This is part of the curse where the father said, you know what I'm saying? If y'all break my covenant, you're going to be the tail. They're going to be the head. Listen to this. Okay. Now listen to this, family, because this is crazy. It says some 374 U.S. radio stations now broadcast special programs to sell to Negroes. Some employ Negro disc jockeys to chat about Negro social life and play records, mostly jazz, spiritual, and blues that Negro fans request. So what I want you guys to understand, family, when you look at today, like the people you see, what's his name? China Mac or whatever his name is in the headlines right now, you know what I'm saying? For going at Hassan Campbell and basically the black race. When you look at people like Vlad TV and people like that, you have to understand that these marketing plans go all the way back to this time period. These people have been looking for ways to weasel themselves into the culture. So when you hear people say, oh man, these people are culture vultures, this is the origin of it. They know that we having bankrolls and they're looking for ways to tap into that market. And if you oppose and you try to start your own stuff up like Martin Luther King was trying to do towards the end of his career, that's going to get you sent up out of here. Okay. So they got to understand that we still in slavery today. We are still in captivity. The captivity has not officially lifted yet. Okay. This is what people got to understand. Listen to this right here. But any mention of race is taboo. One, so now listen to this, listen to this, listen to this, listen to this, family, because this is what I want you to grasp. It says, but any mention of race is taboo. One hair lotion manufacturer wanted to begin a commercial. Attention, Negro women, but was promptly turned down. The station manager knew any such blunt approach would alienate the listeners. So this is what I want you to understand. This so-called equality and all of this other stuff is theater. What they're saying is they know that, well, we're racist. You can't speak your actual mind and basically say, well, attention, Negro women. They saying, well, no. That we can't use that approach right there. They not gonna bite on that. Listen to this. Listen to this. Listen to this, family. Because well, let me finish the point here. We're gonna keep going. But at any rate, they know that, and this is what I be saying. Our people go spend all this money on this top designer stuff. These people don't like you. But as long as you're spending your money, they're cool with it. They're gonna play and smile and this and that. And my thing is, I don't have a problem with people that's racist. If you racist, just be like, hey, I'm racist. This is what's going on. You know, it's not a big deal. That way we know, okay, you stay in your lane, I stay in my lane. You know what I'm saying? It's simple as that. But these people are using this is a business psyop that they have launched, going all the way back into this to tap into money and to rob. I remember my grandfather used to run numbers. And I was talking to my aunts about a month ago, where they told us that the lotto and stuff like that came from black folks. Our people was running those numbers, and then they came in and took over. You know what I'm saying? I remember coming up, my granddad, he used to run numbers. You know what I'm saying? Now listen to this. Okay. The ad field is growing so fast that Manhattan's Baden Barn, Dorstein, and Osborne hired a Negro 2 years ago as a special consulting on the Negro market and has boosted its accounts in the field from 2 to 40. Okay. See, it says market surveys show that the Negro customer responds best to advertisement emphasizing quality and prestige. A long history of exploitation makes him wary of cheap, shoddy goods. Thus, a Negro buyer is likely to spend more of his salary on high-priced goods than a white man, partly because it gives him prestige before his friends. A tobacco company aimed an ad campaign at the Negro market and taking into account his lower income featured its 10-cent brand. The campaign flopped. Admin found the Negroes resented the implications of economic inferiority, had gone right on buying their favorite top quality brand. So they said, oh, they trying to give us that guy. We're going to keep buying our top end stuff. So what I want you guys to understand is that when you look today and you look at these celebrities and they buy all this high end stuff, this is a business psyop that's been launched where they know that, okay, they're going to buy top end stuff because guess what? This is what we do. When we put on top end stuff, it makes us feel like, oh yeah, we the one. You know what I'm saying? Knowing that at the end of the day, this is how, listen, this is how these people stay in power because they have money. They don't have to buy all this high end stuff like that because they got it. They own it. So it ain't like, you know what I'm saying? Think about this. If you got, say, $200 million in the bank, you got a bag. You ain't got to jump on everything because you got the money. But when you thirsty and you don't have the money, people will take it, will do anything for the money. And this is what they're doing. But at any rate, they've been doing this. So this is why when you see these people get rich, they take them to their dealerships. Oh, I'm gonna take you to my guy, get you the Bentley. They got the new Bentleys down there. They deck it out for you, everything you want. They already know this. You see? So the point that I'm trying to bring out here, family, is that Martin Luther King was killed over money. They did not want him rerouting that $30 billion that was being spent in the Black community during that time period. They don't want our people uniting and get together. And this is why I said this is the problem that I have with these entertainers. What are y'all doing with y'all money? Are y'all getting this money and reroute? Or y'all letting these people just rob y'all and they just robbing y'all? Y'all taking y'all money, y'all buying all of this stuff. Like, listen, let me explain something to you. Why would you listen? Why would you make all that money? If that listen, if that was me, if I'm millionaire, multimillionaire status, right? Why would I go spend all this money to go stay and live out here among some people that really don't want me out here in their communities? Why wouldn't I go back to the community and buy up the community, what I'm saying, which they have the value and put value into it and be there around the people that I love and the people that love me. You see what I'm saying? But what they have done is they have corrupted the neighborhoods with all this lawlessness. And so when you look at a lot of these major artists, they're not going to go back to those neighborhoods because why? In the rap industry, they done burnt up blocks. They done kept up beef on blocks. They done did all of this stuff out here. So they can't stay out there. You know what I'm saying? So this is what we got to get back to. You know what I'm saying? Like people got to understand, what the deal is, man, with this situation, man. But at any rate, this is why they got Martin Luther King out the way. It's simple as that. He was getting ready to tap into that money, but he had the Poor People campaign that he had just launched. And this is the last slide I'm gonna show, and then I'm gonna wrap it up because we already been on here an hour already. I didn't expect to be on here this long, but at any rate, let's go here. So anyway, the Poor People Campaign, okay, the Poor People Campaign or Poor People March on Washington was a 1968 effort to gain economic justice for poor people in the United States. It was organized by Martin Luther King and the Southern Christian Leadership Conference and carried out under the leadership of Ralph Abernathy in the wake of King's assassination in 1968. And you got to understand that Martin Luther King was asking for reparations then. He was telling them to, to go and put together that package. And that right there is what got him out the way. This Poor People campaign, where he was finna start a whole nother campaign. Listen what he had right here. Listen what he had here. Let's just read this, okay? It says, under the Economic Bill of Rights, the Poor People Campaign asks for the federal government to prioritize helping the poor with a 30 billion. Listen to this, a 30 billion anti-poverty package that included, among other demands, a commitment to full employment, a guarantee to annual income measures, and more low-income housing. The Poor People Campaign was part of a second phase of the civil rights movement. King said, we believe the highest patriotism demands the ending of the war and the opening of bloodless wars to a final victory over racism and poverty. So he was getting ready to get into some stuff, boy, that he was way over his head. And this is why they got him out the way. The Poor People Campaign, this was the straw that broke the camel's back. Okay. So I'm gonna go through some of these comments here, man. You know what I'm gonna do also? If somebody want to jump on and speak on it, I just dropped the link here in the chat. Make sure that you guys are subscribed to the channel. But I just dropped the link into the chat. So if anybody want to come on and speak on this, I'm gonna keep the floor open for about 10 more minutes before I close up, and I want to go over some of these comments because I haven't been able to kind of go over them. We should, okay. So James King says we should have followed the Most High, Malcolm, and the great man. Exactly. Yeah. You know what? I was telling the brethren, right, that my thoughts on Malcolm X was that Malcolm X was sent in to expose the Nation of Islam. Okay. And I'm going to get on Nation of Islam. I got an expose coming on that. It was created by this European, this white man, some unknown man. They don't even know who this guy is. It's some man, all type of stuff, man. But at any rate, I don't want to go all the way too far into that. But my thoughts on that was that the Most High sent Malcolm X to expose the Nation of Islam. But then it wasn't permitted for him to pass beyond that because Malcolm X was a strong leader, and he was about business, but he was not pushing this Israelite campaign. You know what I'm saying? And this is the thing that I don't understand with Farrakhan. He know that we the children of Israel. He know we the people of the book, but then he sits up here and he pushes this Islamic trash, this garbage. Okay, this Johnny come lately doctrine that don't pop on the scene until like 600, 700 AD. So there's no, and let me just say this, okay, while I'm talking about it. All the people that out here that follow Islam, that's Muslims or whatever the case may be, there's no way in the world that you can say, well, we acknowledge because they have to have a base of something that it's got to stand on. So the foundation is the Tanakh. Oh, well, in the Old Testament it said this. Well, if you're saying that this is based off of that, then why don't you follow what the prophets have said concerning the book? It doesn't say nothing about the Father creating some new religion, Islam, Christian, none of this stuff, man. We Israelites, man, quit playing, man. And they know this, but for some reason they endorse all of these different movements, and this is why they're getting their heads knocked off because it's not in the will of the Most High. See, we come in the name of Yahuwah. You've never saw they Israelites, but you have never seen no real Israelites leader come forth that's pushing the commandments and telling people to turn back to the Most High. They're giving us these watered down Christian preachers. They're giving us all this Islamic garbage that's trash. You know what I mean? And yeah, that the Most High ain't working with none of that stuff like that. But that was my thoughts on that because Malcolm X was about that business, but he was still going to push Orthodox Islam, and the father not having that because that ain't he ain't behind none of that. Okay. Okay. Nothing gonna work as long as we keep the Most High out of it. Somebody besides Him would never. Yeah, and that's why we come in. That's why we come in the name of the honorable, the Most High, the honorable Yahuwah, and we standing, and He's standing behind us. You know what I'm saying? We come in with the real deal, holy feel. Yeah, Jesse Jackson, he knew about it. All if you notice, if you guys notice, the people, the runner up that was up under them, none of these people never really went to and now don't get me wrong, Jesse Jackson had moments, but it was nothing like King. You know what I'm saying? Faircon, he did his thing, but it's nothing on the level. See, what you guys got to understand is that the government infiltrates these organizations, and what they do is they put handlers over these people, okay, to watch them. See, they had the government had I forget the guy name that was Martin Luther King right hand man, but he was giving them all the information, the itinerary, what was going on with the plan. They keep the handlers close, and when they break free from the handlers that they put in position, then they got to get you out the way because then they can't control you and they don't know what you're going to do. And when you got that type of fame and power, they don't want you going down a path that's going to free the slaves. Okay. I'd rather be with Yashua. These other nations can beat it unless they keeping the law. Yeah. Hey, I agree. Agreed. Yeah. What we got going on here? Martin and Brother Malcolm talk, and Martin said he brought his people into exactly because he understood that by this integration stuff was a way to put our people. It didn't help help black people out. It crushed black people because it destroyed, as we saw with the massacre of Oklahoma, of Tulsa, that black people had their own businesses, black owned businesses having without no interruptions or all this. There's always the Wizard of Oz, the white man behind the curtain that's got some type of no. It was black. They don't want that. This is why they got them out the way. You see what I'm saying? And so he realized that, and that's when he started to push this Poor People campaign in 1968. And they got him up out the way. They're like, oh no, you playing with the money? You said go take all the money out the banks. They like, is this nigga go crazy? Go take all the money out the banks and don't shop and buy none of our stuff, and we eating off y'all? Oh no, that ain't gonna happen. Yeah, he did, but what good did it do? He had already exactly, and this is why they immortalized Martin Luther King and gave him a day because they always want to see what they always want to do is they want to keep that Martin Luther King image because what does it represent? Oh, the passive Israelite, the passive dogs getting sick on you, this and that. Listen, listen, I'm in the process right now. I'm putting together an expose, right? These people want you to believe that when they teach slavery, they always show you the black man and the black woman hanging. Okay. And yeah, our people was getting tore up. But what they don't tell you is that all the slave revolts that was happening here in this nation, there was plenty of Europeans that was getting killed by these slaves. This is why they had to switch the game up and say, you know what? Let's just stop that. Let's just control the money. Okay. Let's control the economics. Let's control the money. Okay. We're not going to keep this is what they don't tell you because if they tell you that they don't want to strengthen your hand because they think that you're gonna man, wait till man, I got listen, when I bring these documents out, I got the documents where they was like they didn't even want see, they was trying to even get Marcus Garvey, but what it was is they didn't want blacks here in this nation traveling to the west coast of Africa. This is why today you see it sometimes, but you remember when we was kids on TV, they would always show the poor people in Africa, like, oh, they just he'll be like, man, we ain't trying to go out there, man. You know what I'm saying? They were doing that to discourage you from going out there while at the same time collecting money. Come on, man. These people is ruthless, man. You know what I'm saying? Easy E ain't have nothing on these on the government, man, and these people how they get down, man. They ruthless, man. Yeah, and if you notice what Martin Luther King said, he said that man, it was bread flowing in, man. Simple as that, man. It was no need to integrate because black people was already getting to the bag. They already had it. You know what I'm saying? Only thing we need to do at that point is turn back to the Most High and keep His commandments, and that would have been it. So I'm saying house integration working for Negroes, African American, whatever they call it themselves today. It ain't working for them. It ain't working for them. Whenever these people listen, did you see what we just read? What they told the woman? She was like, she wanted to say, "Hey, black products for Negro women." And they were like, "No, no, no, don't talk like that. We know you feel like that, but use different language to, not to, spook the herd." You know what I'm saying? See, that's the thing you have to watch out for undercover racism. That's what you got to watch out. I'm not moved by people that's openly racist and say, okay, that's cool. Okay. Y'all stay in y'all lane, I'm staying in my lane. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm gonna tell you something, and this is not to advocate violence or anything like that. It's just keeping it real. It's the same thing. If you get caught in white neighborhoods that's racist like that, you might not make it home. Okay. Now, what blacks would do, okay, is blacks gonna rob you. They gonna definitely do that and then send you on the way. You know what I'm saying? Unless they gotta lay you down, but they just gonna rob you and send you on the way. So that's the thing right there. When you know, like, okay, well, there's a certain standard, I better not go through here, or I better not go through here. This is what it is. See, and this is why when it comes to reparations, they don't want to talk about none of this stuff, man, because they do not want you with the economic power. They could have easily just said, okay, we don't, okay. And it's not all white people. Some the people that's in power, though, okay, these are the people who we talking about. Okay. Yep, the black man isn't worth one third of the white man's life. Yeah. But you saw, as I just showed you, this is what the civil rights movement was all about. They wanted to bring black people under the control so they can continue to keep watching over you and what you're doing with the money. You know what I'm saying? Jews got reparations from America, and America had absolutely nothing to do with the Holocaust, but blacks still haven't got it. Oh, yeah, exactly. Man, y'all wait, y'all lock in, right? I got a message that I'm finna do. I'm getting man. Listen, let me just wait till I get back to that. Okay, and at the same time, having we had Springfield race ride. Yeah, 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 yeah. The Brooklyn Bridge was sold by the Indians for trinkets in the bid. Okay. So yeah, family, try to go through some of these. I try to go through some of these comments. Uh Yep. So yeah, family man. I appreciate everybody coming out, popping out tonight, man. Make sure y'all share this, man, and get this out to the people that need to hear it. Because see, right now our people are on a low vibration. If we talk about a rapper getting killed or something like that, they quick to jump on it. But when it comes down to the information that our people need to hear, it's like, people just don't have time. Like back in the day when your mom, when we was young, your mom make your plate and you got the green beans on there, the lima beans and all that. And you like, I want a candy bar or something like that. You know what I'm saying? But at any rate, this is information that our people need to understand because it boils down to the economics, to the money. You know what I'm saying? And the people that's in the positions of power, these celebrities who they put before the world, are not helping our people. You know what I'm saying? Why is it that, think about this? Why is it that if you look at country music, rock music, why is it not? Why don't we see them throwing money in the clubs and doing all of this stuff? Like, oh man, money ain't nothing, man, burning like it's going out of style when they steady collecting, stacking their money. They moving money into these funds. They got money into these funds. They making sure that wealth continues to transition down to their children. That way, when their children's coming into the world, they have the financial power to get stuff done. You know, so we just got to get this message out, man. Get it out there to the platforms, and I think that once we get to a point where we start to get on the right track and channels start bringing this awareness, and it's not a lot of this, this wild stuff that our people want to be entertained with, and they start paying attention to what's going on. People gonna start jumping on this stuff and being like, okay, I see what's going on. I see what the deal is, and start making moves that's gonna put our people into a better position. Because of course it's your house first, but then it's the nation second. So at the end of the day, family, I hope that y'all enjoyed this message. Get it out there to the platforms, and y'all stay safe out there. And I'll see y'all on the next one. Shalom.